Hello, beautiful Pisces. Welcome to Team Joanna. My name is Joanna. For those of you who are new, welcome. I really do hope you stay. I hope you like what you hear. And for those of you who are returning, thank you so much. Without you, there would be no Joanna team. No, there would be no Team Joanna. So thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate every single soul, every single one of you. All right. As I tune into your energies, the word that comes through to me is the word watch your projections. And I feel very transformed as I tune into your energy. There is a feeling of expressing or exerting something new that comes out of you as a result of a healing or having healed or having been transformed. There is no doubt that many of you are in a process of transformation. We all are, and majority of you who are listening to this are continually seeking your higher self, the higher version of yourself. And in order to touch and feel that higher aspect of you, we need to go through transformation. We need to allow ourselves to let go that which has defined us, the ego self, in order to grasp the enormity of who we are beyond the physical projection. The word acceptance obviously comes up, not obviously, the word acceptance comes up, and I talk about acceptance a lot. And acceptance is synonymous to me with self-love. So the transformation is about you having accepted yourself, or in the process of accepting yourself unconditionally. And that in itself is an extremely powerful and transformative process. This transformation eventually leads you to a place you've never been before. And the image I have is you standing on a very tall, it's not a hill, it's a mountain. I want to say Mount Everest just for the effect. And you hold the flag and it says, I made it. And as you look from the top of that mountain, you can see things you've never seen before, including your new perspective. That is a metaphor. I'm sure you already know that. So take that for what you will and just kind of park it for now, and let me go through the rest of the messages. I want to state my intention. My intention is to help you resolve your inner conflict by helping you realize your own power. The moment you realize your power, you begin to drop density. You begin to become more light. Except you're not becoming more light, because you are light already. You are allowing your light to come through and shine brightly, because you choose to no longer be undermined by all your limitations. Very, very powerful energy. The card that was given to me to depict you in the month of February, March or so, is this card. And I would encourage you to just tune in and see what comes to you. The word that came to me surprised me, because the word that came to me was obligations. And I thought, that is not what I would have had expected looking at this card. And then I just heard, watch those expectations. So that's a message in itself. Watch your expectations. The hidden ones, for sure, and also the not so hidden ones. Expectations come from a belief you have. certain expectations are not in your favor, yet you still believe in them. So, if you believe in something and you expect it, then it is just a matter of time before your reality will reflect it back to you. So when I tuned into the word obligation, I said, okay, show me, what is it about this word of obligation? And the idea of transformed came to me. It seems that many of you are transforming the way you let obligations distract you or confine you. Let me say it in a different way. If you are obligated to something or someone, but that something or someone is not reflected or reflective of what you want, then that obligation is essentially not allowing you to fully express you. If you are in a relationship because you feel obligated, and by the way, I'm not saying drop all your obligations, because we have obligations for a reason and we need obligations. It's what gives us a reason to be. But let me just give you this example. If you are obligated to stay in the marriage because you're afraid that if you leave, your spouse is going to be unhappy, then you are in that relationship for all the wrong reasons. Not only are you not allowing yourself to grow and expand, you're not allowing your spouse to grow and expand. So I'm going to leave that as a metaphor and as an example of the type of obligations I'm talking about. If you are obligated to go somewhere and but you don't want to be there, then understand at least where this obligation comes from. What do you get from this obligation? What does this obligation give you? Does it give you a sense of purpose? Does it give you a sense of security? Does it give you a sense of belonging? Does it give you a sense of safety? Does it give you a sense of being loved and liked? Everything you do, including obligations, serves you. And obligation in and of itself is not a bad thing. Like I said, we need that. It gives us purpose. It gives us a reason to live. But I'm talking about those obligations that stop you or limit you from being fully who you are. Okay? If you feel obligated to help a friend, but this friend is continually getting themselves into trouble, which means they're not learning. Your constant help is not helping your friend grow. It is not allowing your friend to be more than he or she can be. So notice what are some of your obligations that you have adhered to now or in the past that served as a way of giving you some sort of safety, stability, but ultimately it robbed you from really wanting to be more. Is that what I'm saying? It's robbing you of you expressing yourself in a bigger way. That's how I'm going to leave it. And there are some obligations that you seem to be transforming in this next few weeks or few months. Always remember this. The biggest and the deepest obligation you have is to yourself. First and foremost, that is why you're here. That is why you have a physical body, your avatar. That is why you have an ego with certain personality. It's because of you. Your soul wants to have that experience. It's not because of somebody else. Yes, you, by being here, by being yourself, others benefit, no question about it. But you are here for you, so your biggest obligation is always to you. Okay? If you are in a situation where, let's take for an example, you are in a relationship and you have a child or children, and you have a miserable marriage where you fight all the time, and you stay in the marriage because you feel obligated to your children. You don't want to hurt your children. Well, I don't want to speak for everybody, but chances are your children seeing you fighting all the time is not helping them experience healthy relationships. And therefore their idea for a relationship becomes the one you have with your spouse. So you staying in that relationship out of obligation actually does not serve them at all. All it does, it allows them to be more confident in the fact that this is the way people relate. Okay? I am not saying leave a situation where you have kids. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is make sure you look at it from all angles. Okay? You're also transforming loss. Loss primarily that has already happened. And you might have lost someone in your life. You might have lost something in your life. You may have, and as a result, you begin to perceive yourself differently, and you begin to perceive the world differently. And that loss have scarred you. Losses do. And the loss that I am connecting to is one from a childhood experience. If you have experienced loss of any kind, losing a pet, losing a friend, losing a loved one, being rejected, being abandoned, that's all loss. All of those that I just mentioned, and there is many more, would have impacted you to your core. It would have been impossible for you not to be impacted. Okay? And over the next little while, you are transforming that loss. Whatever loss comes to you as I talk about it, whatever example comes to you in your mind, chances are that's something that wants to be transformed. Okay? Not to mention that there is a new beginning. There's always a new beginning, particularly when we are in our transformative times. Now, this new beginning was shown to me in reverse, and I'm trying to tune in to see, do I want to show it? Is it supposed to be in reverse? For some of you, okay. So for some of you, the new beginning represents new opportunities. So there is almost like a fresh of breath air. For others of you, it's an opportunity for new beginnings, but it is to make sure that you do not begin anything out of obligation. Of course, if you can help it. And the types of obligations that I'm talking about, I've already discerned at the beginning. Okay, so for some of you it's in this way, for some of you it's in the other way. Many of you will see this and you will go, yes, a new relationship. Yes, it is. However, here's what I want to say first and foremost. Primarily, it is a new relationship you have with yourself. That is how I see it. Incidentally, I believe this is also a Pisces sign. I'm not an astrologer, for those of you who don't know. So yes, there is a relationship that is forming. Relationship you have with yourself as a result of your transformation, which ultimately brings forth a new relationship with something or someone else. The biggest reason why you are shifting the relationship you have with yourself is because you are beginning to own and accept your own value. Again, for those of you who read cards, you by all means go ahead and have your interpretation. That is not what I see. To me, this represents value. Owning and accepting one's value. And all too often, we don't accept our value and we do not believe in ourselves as value. Inferiority, lack of self-worth, not feeling deserving, those are all symptoms of not owning one's value, one's power. Okay? So this is primarily why you are attracting a new relationship and why you are, the reason why you are beginning to relate with yourself differently. And your relationship with you is indicative of your beliefs you have about you and the world. The relationship you have with yourself is also very reflective of the relationships you have with other people in your life. So think of it this way. If you have dealt with insecurity in the past, then chances are you have, because you're a human being. It's part of this game. It's all part of this game. And you have felt inferior, insecure, that would have shown itself in your relationship. I talk about it often. If you feel undeserving, if you feel less worthy, if you feel inferior, then in a relationship that would have been reflected in your life. Okay? You may have felt neglected by your partner. You may have felt that you are not important. You may have felt many things that are indicative of not feeling worthy, not owning one's value. So the moment you begin to own your value, the moment you begin to realize that you are of value and you begin to accept that and own it, you begin to shift the way you relate with you, and that automatically shifts your relationships going forward. For one, you are less likely to put up with quote-unquote bullshit. Excuse my French. You are less likely to put up with excuses for yourself. You are less likely to project an image of yourself that is needy, because that only attracts like relationships. People that need you or you need them. And I don't mean need, we all need each other. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about codependent, needy people. Either you become needy or you attract someone who is needy. That's not what you want. That's not this kind of a relationship. This is an equal relationship where there is a flow, natural flow of give and take. If you have felt unworthy before, or have had challenges in the past with not owning your value, you would have naturally be much more of a giver than receiver. And with that comes a whole slew of things that are not necessarily very pleasant. For one, you end up giving way more than you receive. Okay? So, owning your value, first accepting your value and then owning it, completely shifts the relationship you have with you, and it shifts and attracts new types of relationships. I hear the month of May, for some of you, this new relationship with you will be reflected in your life around the month of May. So in springtime. Cobra is a powerful teacher. And this Cobra is your inner teacher. And look at this Cobra and notice what it wants to say to you. It is the element of fire, so it's your passion, it's your spirit, it's your drive, it's your juice, if you will. And this cobra, this teacher, wants to impart knowledge to you, wants to impart wisdom to you. So what I want to say here is, you know the saying, when a student is ready, the teacher appears? I have a feeling many of you will attract a teacher to yourself on a physical level. For others of you, as a separate person, for others of you, this will be your inner teacher, your inner guidance. Thank you. Some of you are teachers. Some of you are teachers in the making. Some of you have always been teachers but have been afraid to acknowledge it. Your experiences are valuable. Every single one. I don't care where it is. Even the bad ones. Even the not so good ones. Those are especially powerful and especially valuable. Because if you're able to look back at those experiences and look at it from the perspective of you having gained value from it, what have you learned from it? What have you observed from it? What have you extracted from it as wisdom? That's invaluable. That's invaluable. There's nothing more valuable than that. Which, by the way, that's what your spirit is after. It's experience. Your spirit is always after wanting to know itself. Always evolving, always growing, always expanding. You're no different. You're just an embodied aspect of your higher self. Okay? Intuition. It came to me in reverse, so I tuned into it. And what I feel is that some of you may not hear your intuition very well or are not very trusting of it. And trust, like anything else, is developed. But there are some profound messages coming through your intuition, especially as we move more into the higher energies, the higher frequencies. And always remember, intuition is your soul's language. It's how your soul communicates with you. And also other beings, other spirit, disembodied, embodied beings. It's like a channel to other dimensions. So for those of you who don't trust your intuition or you're not quite sure, just begin to pay attention to that inner voice and what it's trying to tell you, okay? Because there's some messages coming through for you. For some of you, some profound messages that seem to be coming out of this world, okay? Some of you are natural channelers. Pardon me, I will rephrase that. We are all channelers. Some of you are more natural at it than others, okay? But you are a channel. You are a channel of frequency. You are a channel of energy. You are a vehicle to life's force or to life force. There's no way of getting around that. That's what you are, okay? So let that life force go through you. The medicine wheel is a message that basically says, you are now ready to put all your learning into experience. You've been there, done that. You know what to do. Each experience is, like I said, each experience is extremely valuable, particularly the ones that we feel or we see as not being the best. Those are particularly enriching in terms of value. And you are ready, this is an indication that you are ready to put all that learning now into practice. Notice how this image depicts, I want to call it spirit animals. Animals have spirit, but I'm just looking at it. You have the tiger or a cheetah or some kind of a cat, which is fierce. You have what looks like an eagle, which is high perspective. You have the snake, which is raw power, which is also transformation, death and rebirth. You have the hummingbird, which is about expression. It's about flight. It's about endurance. Have you ever watched a hummingbird and how quickly they flap their wings? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Nature is unbelievable. You are ready to put your knowledge into practice. I'm looking at the 3 and 5. That's where the number, that's where my focus goes. When I take those apart, 3 is indicative of expansion, which is where we are in the process of expansion. 5 is indicative of change. It is impossible for us to expand but not go through change. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. Know that in this process of expansion, there is change. Just because there is change does not mean it's anything bad. As a matter of fact, it couldn't be more beautiful. Those 2 numbers make up an 8. It's a very strong, powerful number. 8 is the number of strength in a tarot card, in a tarot deck. If you ever see a depiction, the ones that I have, and I'm closing my eyes, there is strength, there is stamina, there is wisdom. Incredible wisdom in the number 8. Very powerful number. The month of August, I think I might have mentioned that before. For some of you, August will be a very important month. Okay? And what is the Emperor? The Emperor is someone who is in charge of their domain, in charge of their own life. This person depicts you. This is where you're going. So if you don't feel like the Emperor, it's just a matter of time. Now, incidentally, if this Emperor didn't own or accept his value, it's a he in this case, would he be a good Emperor? Would he be an Emperor? No, he wouldn't be an Emperor. He would be someone who has a title, but he would not be able to hold up to that title or to that position. So in order to be the Emperor, you have to own your value. You have to accept and own your value. That's just the way it is. That's the sacrifice you have to pay for feeling good. It's you have to own your value. Okay? I also hear don't be afraid to be responsible. I'm like, what does that mean? Taking responsibility for your life can feel threatening. Why? Because essentially what it means is that you realize that everything that is around you in terms of your life, you are the sole creator of it. And the sooner you accept it as truth, the sooner you stop fighting it, the sooner you begin to be this person who is in charge of their life. Not controlling. There's not very many things you can control. There's some things you can control, but if you think about it, there's not very many things you can control. You can control how you respond or respond to the world. When you react, that's not really being in control. Reaction is not, that's something else controlling you. Okay? Any fears around not being enough, not having enough, scarcity mentality, any sort of things like that, for majority of you who are listening to this, it's going to be a thing of the past in a matter of time. Remember, this is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. Some of you are going through what is called the dark night of the soul. And it can be very difficult. It can be very, very difficult. Essentially what's happening is your ego self is being torn away from you. Your identity is being torn down. Your identity is how you know yourself to be. It's who you are. It's how you relate to you. And that's being taken away from you. So first, it can be quite difficult. Having said that, You will get through it. You will pull through it. Just know that. Just know that. I'm being asked to say, to show you this, almost like an enticement. If you are going through the dark night of the soul, this is what's waiting for you at the other end of this. So I'm supposed to give you a bit of an enticement. This is what's waiting for you. Okay? If it feels uncomfortable, know it's you're not alone, although it can feel that way, and it often does, but you're not alone. Every person goes through this at some point in their life. Okay? Know that when you feel that way, when you feel that dark night of the soul, it's because you're in a heavy duty transition. You are the snake that is literally losing its old skin. And did you know that apparently when the snake loses its skin, it becomes temporarily blind? And I think I've mentioned this a few times. Imagine becoming temporarily blind. That's frightening. It's very vulnerable. But I say, what's the snake to do? He or she has no choice. Has to go through the process. You're no different. Okay? Okay, I'll put another spoiler for you. If this wasn't enough, look at this. There's a change of path. There's a choice in front of you. And it's all leading you there. It's all leading you there. It's all leading you there. So I'm going to say the dreaded word. Please do not shoot the messenger. Be patient. Be patient with yourself. Love yourself enough to say, this too shall pass, and take it day by day. Okay? And with that said, I want to congratulate you for being here, for having the courage to face yourself, because it is not easy. It's not easy to face yourself. And until we face ourselves, then we're always running. Okay? And when we're always running, we're never really at peace, because we're running from something. And generally when we run from something, it is because we're afraid of it, whatever it is that we're running from. So congratulate yourself for facing yourself, because it's not an easy process, but it's one that the payoff is greater than I can possibly put into words. Okay? And with that said, I want to wish you a fantastic month of February and months to follow. Of course, if this makes no sense to you right now, listen to it later. Please do comment. I love, love, love reading your comments. If you would like to know more about my services, including my new healing services, energy healing, that information is down below, and also how you can contact me. And have yourself a wonderful month of, I almost said April, wonderful month of February, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.